Hello everyone! In this week's video, I'm drawing two of my viewers' pictures in my style. As you can probably tell from my voice, I've been sick with a cold. As I'm recording this audio, I am starting to feel better. I'm starting to get my energy back, and I don't feel as sick, but I still sound very sick. Anyways, I announced on Instagram, Twitter, and my YouTube community page that I would be doing this. There were so many submissions and I had so much fun seeing everyone's art. There were so many pictures that I wanted to draw, but I only have enough time to draw two in this video. So how about we see whose picture I'm drawing in my style first. This picture is by Hana1. I think the ice horns are really neat and I was really excited to draw them. For this video, I will mostly be working in Procreate. Also, I changed Procreate to the light theme because my camera didn't want to cooperate with the dark theme. It kept blowing out and not wanting to focus. I am pretty new to Procreate. I got it when I got my iPad, so it was quite a few months ago that I got it, but I haven't used it very much. I found it hard to adjust to because it's pretty different than the usual software that I use. When I got my iPad, many of you wanted to see me use Ibis Paint, so I switched to that and I liked using it because it was closer to softwares that I usually use. I actually took a Procreate class on Wingfox. They are sponsoring this video, but we'll talk about them later. Because of the class, I learned a lot about Procreate and its different functions. So I had a lot easier time using Procreate for this video, so that was nice. It has some really nice features. Like, I didn't even know about the quick access menu before taking the class, and using that is really helpful, and I quite like it. So right now I'm cleaning up my rough sketch. I decided that for the illustration in this video, I wasn't going to make them super clean. I don't know, I just didn't feel like it for some reason. I'll be using a process closer to my digital painting process. Also, when I was working on this picture, I wasn't sick yet. Thankfully, I started working on this video kind of early. That's the only reason I was able to get this video done in time. That and the power of ibuprofen and Tylenol. The brushes I'm using are from the Procreate class that I mentioned. I quite like them. They all have a nice texture to them and they feel nice to use. After cleaning up the sketch, I start filling it in with colors. Also, I'm sorry I messed up the coloring on the hair a little bit. Even though I had the picture right there in my canvas, I didn't notice that the right side of his hair also has the light blue color. I only added it in the one strand kind of at the top and I didn't add it on the right side. When I imported the picture into my canvas, I noticed that when I was looking at my sketch and looking at the original picture, that my sketch's shirt was really different. So I had to change it to make it closer to the original. It ended up being super rough and messy, but I'll clean it up later with coloring. The nice part about my digital painting style is that I kind of don't need to do line art, but filling in the base colors takes a lot longer because things are kind of messy. Oh, also, I decided to change his mouth. It seems like he's kind of snarling at us, and I do still make him snarl, but I make the side that is lifting up closer to us. I just thought it would look nice. I kind of had fun adding the line for his teeth. I decided to give him a pointy tooth that you often see in anime. I never really get to add this, but I always think it's kind of a fun detail. Now we are switching to my footage that I captured with my screen recorder. To be honest, my neck was starting to hurt from leaning over my tablet. So I took my tablet to the couch and decided to record there instead. I intended to go back to my camera after taking a break for a bit, but I never ended up going back to my camera. So I'm starting by adding some purple shadows. I like how the original used purple for the shadows. I used to love using purple as the colors for my shading. Like, it was the color I always used. But for some reason over time, I don't use it as much now. Working on this picture made me realize I kind of want to start using it more often again because I do really like how it looks and it's fun to use. Before merging all of my layers together, I wanted to add some basic shadows and highlights and kind of get those in place. It's a lot easier to add those before merging all the layers to clean things up because I don't need to worry about covering up my sketch. Also, I felt like I didn't totally know what I was doing for this picture. I felt like I was kind of winging it as I went along, probably because I'm using a new app with different brushes than what I'm used to, which isn't a bad thing. I think it made me experiment more and try different things instead of just using the same brushes and techniques that I always use. So now I've merged all of my layers and I'm starting to clean things up. I keep using the eyedropper tool to select colors, and then I go over my sketch with colors to make it cleaner. I especially had to do this with the hair. The hair was very messy. Speaking of his hairstyle is kind of like a bob, and this can look kind of girly. I tried to make it look more boyish. I found that for boys with longer hair, to help it look less girly, I add more shorter strands that kind of poke out, and I also make the hair more stringy, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word for it. My sister Ruth thought it was a girl at first, but my sister Reagan knew it was a boy. So yeah, I don't know if I succeeded. Cleaning up the fur also took me a really long time. I spent a lot of time making that look neater. But it was kind of fun and satisfying for some reason. I don't know. It was fun seeing it messy and then making it look cleaner. It was interesting using the texture brushes to shade the eyes. Also, I added this warm color around the edge of the shadow just to make things a little bit more interesting. I kind of experimented with colors while working on this picture. Speaking of colors, I decided I want to add some gradients to him to kind of make the illustration feel a little bit more interesting. I put the character mostly in shadow and then add a strong yellow highlight. I imagine maybe the character is in a bad mood because he doesn't like the sun. The cold doesn't bother him, but the heat does. Also, I liked experimenting with the yellow color on his face and adding the highlights to his nose and stuff. That was fun. To add some contrast, I added a light blue light coming from below to make it feel kind of cool. So now it was time to work on the ice horns, and like I mentioned, I was really excited to work on these. However, I had no idea how to go about shading them. When looking at the original picture, the ice doesn't really seem like it's translucent. It kind of reminds me of packed ice, like in Minecraft. Is packed ice a thing in real life? Anyways, so I decided to not go for a transparent look, but I did want them to kind of have a translucent look to them. I started by outlining all the edges with a light blue. I was totally winging all of this, but I felt like this was a step in the right direction. I then used a darker purple color to add shading to the different edges. I felt like this was the look I was going for, so I was really happy about that. So I proceeded to do the same thing on all the other ice formations. As I was doing this, I kind of noticed it would look even more ice-like when I would make the light blue get thicker at intersections and thinner in the middle. It also makes the formation feel kind of more interesting, I think. I'm glad I was able to figure out a way to achieve the look I was going for. Shading all of the ice took a pretty long time, but it was pretty relaxing. It's always kind of fun working on natural or organic formations because there isn't really a wrong answer, or you can kind of make them look however you want. It doesn't need to be super exact, I guess, because it's kind of a natural thing. And here's my version of Hanafauna1's picture. Thank you so much, Hanafauna1, for submitting your art and allowing me to draw it in my style. It was a lot of fun. This video is sponsored by Wingfox. Wingfox is a digital art online learning platform. By integrating the best quality tutorial resources in the field of 2D and 3D art, Wingfox provides comprehensive instruction while showing the creation process of high-quality artworks. It provides systematic online learning solutions for 2D and 3D art students, practitioners, and enthusiasts. A course I took on Wingfox is drawing realistic plus cartoon-style digital characters using Procreate by Vincent Chu. This tutorial demonstrates the real-time creation process of 2 illustrations with distinct features. You will master the techniques of making a cartoon-style illustration from scratch using Procreate. Vincent will share with you his exclusive skills in drawing a draft of facial features, the structure of the upper body, as well as coloring. With this course, you even get the Procreate brushes that Vincent uses. I think this is really neat. If you're interested in CG, game art, concept design, animation, or any of these other topics, consider checking out WingFox today. Thank you so much to WingFox for sponsoring this video. This next picture, or pictures, are by SM Studios. I like how these kind of tell a story, and I learn a lot about the character, even though I'm not told anything about the character. So when I started working on this picture is when I started coming down with the cold. This first day I didn't feel very bad. I was just kind of wondering if I was getting the cold, and as the day went on, I kept kind of feeling more and more sick. So let's just say things didn't go very smoothly with this picture. At first, I was redrawing this one because it seemed like an easy one to redraw, but I just didn't like how it was going. I liked my sketch and the expression that it had, but when I was trying to finish it, I didn't like it anymore. And the picture just didn't have the feeling I wanted. I wanted it to kind of have a kind of mystical and sort of melancholy feeling. But this just kind of looked like she was in a scary forest and that she was scared or something. So after working on this for like 2 hours, I decided to scrap everything and start over. I was kind of bummed I had to start over, but I felt like it was for the best. This time I was going to try redrawing this one instead. I'm starting by getting an idea for the pose and body placement. I was being very messy and loose. I wanted her pose to be very close to the originals. However, I did decide to raise one of her hands up to be kind of reaching for one of the butterflies. I feel like this helps give a sense that she is longing to be like them, but she can't because of her broken wing. Also, I decided to make the wing be on the side that is closer to us, so that we can see it. With the way I drew the pose, we wouldn't be able to see the broken wing because it would be too short and the character would conceal it. So yeah, I had to put it on the side that's closer to us. And here's an episode of Becca struggles with the hand and draws it several times. I kept redrawing this hand and I just couldn't decide on a pose. I kept holding my hand up and looking at it to help me draw the pose, and I just kept drawing the hand over and over again. I finally decided on this one. Because of the WingFox tutorial, I learned more about the liquify tool, and I love it so much. I wish Clip Studio Paint had a liquify tool. It is so nice to use to slightly adjust and move things, and I really like it. I thought Ibis Paint didn't have one, but then my brother needed my help because the settings for his Ibis Paint on his iPad got changed, and when I was playing around with his settings, I found the liquify tool. So it's cool that Ibis Paint also has one. Next was my cleanup sketch and filling in the base colors. At this point, I was starting to feel pretty sick and I was definitely feeling more tired. I actually filled in my base colors while watching a movie on the couch. I did a lot of this picture while lying down on the couch. I made sure to rest a lot. I only did the bare minimum this week for work. My only goal was to get this video done, and I didn't work on anything else. I'm now pretty behind on my webcomic, which is kind of a bummer. So the update for that will probably be posted later than I was planning. So after filling in the base colors, I started working on the shading, and at this point I was starting to run low on time and I really needed to get the picture done. So I decided to move the picture over to Clip Studio Paint. I knew I'd be able to get the picture done a lot faster on there since I'm super used to it. Plus I wanted to draw on a nice stable surface compared to my iPad sitting on my lap. To move the picture into Clip Studio Paint, I exported all of my layers as PNG files. Thankfully, this is really easy to do in Procreate, and you can just select export it all as a PNG, and it'll separate it all into different PNGs for you. And then I just opened all of the files in Clip Studio Paint and imported them into my canvas and arranged them into the proper order. Now I can work on it on the computer. Yay! So for this picture, I wanted it to be very dark and the glowing butterflies are kind of the only light source. For the butterfly, I drew a very basic shape and I was like, I don't know if that's good enough. Maybe I'll see if I can find any butterflies on the Clip Studio Paint asset library. So I did that, but then the butterflies weren't the same shapes as the one in the original pictures, and I tried to change the shapes of them, but I didn't really like that. And then I went back to the butterfly I drew, and I was like, yeah, I guess that's good enough. For the glowing effect, I apply some blue and lower the opacity. Then I make another layer that is set to add glow to make the blue look more bright and glowy. I also add another layer. This time I erased it a bit in the middle, and this gives the glow a kind of soft ring around the edges. I don't know, I just thought it'd make the glowing effect look kind of neat. I added a little bit of shading to the wings to help them feel separate and so we can easily see each wing. I copied the butterfly and placed it in the background because I didn't feel like drawing another one. I also use it again in the foreground later on. Next was shading the clothes. I felt like I kind of struggled with the shading of this picture. I think it's because it was a different lighting situation than what I'm used to. It's a very strong, direct light source, and it's also a cool light source, so that's pretty different than what I usually work with. I tried my best to convey the blue by adding blue highlights throughout the picture. I liked adding the blue highlights to the hair. I felt like it helped push the idea of the blue light source. It was a lot of fun drawing my viewers' art in my style, and I feel like it helped me try new things and experiment. Lately, I feel like I've been in kind of an art block recently, like I don't feel super creative. But seeing all your creativity is really inspiring, and I feel like working on these pictures helped me. I accidentally didn't record part of the process, but you didn't miss much. I just played around with the filters, cleaned up the art a little more, and tilted the picture to make it feel a little bit more dynamic. And here is the finished piece. Thank you so much again to everyone for submitting art. I hope to do this again sometime. I may want to try doing my own draw this in your style, and maybe let all of you draw one of my pictures in your style. If I do something like that, I'll post it on my Twitter and Instagram, so you can follow me on there if you want to keep up with what I'm doing and stuff. Thank you so much to my wonderful patrons for helping support this channel. It means so much to me. And thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next week in my next video. Hopefully I won't sound so sick in that one. Bye!